Thank you all for being here today. I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the Executive Director for C Center for Young Black Professionals. And I'm joined with my colleague Sela from the Ethiopian Association of Toronto, as well as the CEO Serena of Skills for Change. We also are here on behalf of our colleagues at Tropicana, as well as EVA's initiative in Toronto. And we're really here starting off a two-day meetings across all parties to really promote what we think is best for Canada, which is a youth employment strategy, a very clear strategy that will provide funding for us to continue to do the work that we're doing. This country has a labor gap that needs to be met, and it will only be met by newcomers and young people and young Canadians. We are projected to see 250,000 jobs in 2025. And with the students, 60% of students who are currently on visas likely to be sent back home, as well as tightening immigration laws, we are likely to see a larger gap in that. Currently, the Black youth that we serve across this country, we're seeing 24% unemployment rate, which is ridiculous and unacceptable. And so what we are looking for is support from this government to understand that investing in Black youth employment is investing in all Canadians, and more importantly, investing in the economy. If we were to bring that gap a little bit closer, then we would be able to generate, for every 1% that we decrease Black unemployment, we are contributing to the economy, we are contributing to consumer buy power. And if we were to bring that gap completely to a close, we would be able to provide $36 billion annually to this country, which means the chicken that's costing us $30 will no longer cost that much, all of the hardship, the rent, the costs, etc. Not to mention that the programs that we are running at C, Skills for Change, the Ethiopian Association, and so many others across this country is building an economy for the future and allowing for us to build folks in trades, create a pipeline. And so what we are requesting here as we're meeting with folks is for us to have a very clear strategy with sustainable resources so that we can continue the work that we are already doing and resource us accordingly. Thank you so much. I'll pass it over to my colleague Serena.
Thank you, Agapi, and good afternoon. As Agapi mentioned, critical for us with this youth employment strategy is to ensure that all parties are engaged in the various stakeholders, critically those of us such as Skills for Change who are operating nonprofit sector. Skills for Change has been around for 42 years, and in that time, we've developed and implemented programs for immigrant youth, immigrant women, internationally trained professionals, and through our Black Community Access Programming Department, we're focused on ensuring that our Black community participants have access to good jobs, training, and opportunities for career development. Without a national youth employment strategy, we have a real risk in our country. It impacts productivity, it impacts economic mobility for Black youth. What we're advocating today is to first start a conversation to be able to look at a policy that incorporates different voices, in particular to ensure that a nonprofit organization like Skills for Change, Ethiopian Association, and C are able to provide really hands-on insight and expertise into the nuances, opportunities, and challenges that are presented in ensuring that we increase the economic mobility of Black youth. And we're looking at this from a national lens. Black people exist across Canada in every province and territory. And the barriers that Black youth face are compounded by issues around racism, access to good jobs and opportunities. And through a national youth employment strategy that is intentional, that considers those barriers that Black youth experiences, implements strategies and solutions to reduce those barriers, we could achieve those productivity goals that we want as a nation, but critically would increase economic and social mobility of Black youth. So what we're asking is that all parties have consideration in building that strategy and further ensuring that there is intentional focus on Black youth to look at challenges that they encounter and develop a solution that is responsive to their unique challenges. So what we're trying to do the next 2 days is to meet with different parties, lay that foundation, bring information to their attention, and start a dialogue on a national youth employment strategy. But of course, we want to center Black youth. What are the opportunities that exist? What role can all levels of government play? And what funding model will be appropriate? Critically to the funding model, we want to ensure that it's not just focused on outputs. We want to be able to have the funding and the supports to build programs that are holistic. We look at good jobs, mental health and well-being, community connections that would allow those youth to have that economic mobility. And as such, the funding investment needs to be paramount. So whilst we're starting a dialogue today, we want to hope that through this we can move to concrete funding and support and a policy that's responsive to the current and future needs of Canada. So I'd like Stella, our colleague, to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarana. Thank you, Agape. My name is Salah Gitahun. I am the Executive Director to the Ethiopian Association in the Greater Toronto Area and surrounding region. As my colleagues mentioned, I'll give you the lens from my association or my community's perspective. We have a huge opportunity of internationally educated young professionals with transferable skills, with a very high caliber of employability. The challenge that we are facing is they are not in the job. They are not getting the jobs. To give you the number, there are more than 30,000 Ethiopian populations in the area that we operate. But the number of people who are looking for a job, Black youth who are looking for a job, and the number of available jobs for them or acceptability is very small. Therefore, we're here as a coalition to make sure that the government of Canada understands the challenge, the gaps, and to act accordingly. And when I say to act, it should be as immediately as possible. Thank you so much, and I'll give the podium to my colleague, Agape.
So I think that our message here is very clear. I know that our organizations have seen significant investment and then de-investment from most of these programs. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that Black youth have very unique barriers to employment across this country, and every community looks very different. And so our ask is very clear. This is a nonpartisan conversation. We want all parties to understand that as we approach an election, that this needs to be a priority for all Canadians, because the future of work requires all of us to be able to contribute to it meaningfully. And I think it's very clear that we are looking for a youth employment strategy across this country that will reach every community and every young person to be skilled up for the jobs of the future. And so I ask that, the government that is currently in power, that we work towards a solution in investing in these programs that we're all doing right now, and that as we approach an election, that this is top priority for all parties involved, that we are investing in young people, and more particularly Black youth, because it is a very large, untapped pool of talent that is ready to contribute to the economy meaningfully. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to a very productive 2 days and looking for the outcomes of this conversation in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the press conference. Merci. C'est ce qui conclut la conférence.